Hey, welcome back to my garage. Today we're going to be talking about suspension. If you have recently got yourself a new 24 Road Glide or Street Glide and you've been somewhat disappointed with the suspension like I was, maybe you just need to adjust it. A lot of people are kind of missing the fact that these are not adjusted when they leave the dealership. They should be adjusted to your weight according to what the manual says, and the salesman that helped me actually did help me try to get it set, but we didn't get it right, and it was very rough riding at home. Very rough for the first several rides I took on the bike because I wasn't sure. I didn't know that it wasn't set up the way I should have set it up. And according to the manual, it was set up correctly. It just needed to have more preload. Okay, so according to the manual on page 51, it gives you a table here that shows rider weight on the left, and then it shows on the right the adjustments in millimeters between the top of the adjuster ring and the bottom of the lock ring. So according to my weight, 210, I should have been at 5 millimeters, which is where the salesman set it for me when I bought the bike. And that doesn't take into account another rider, any kind of gear or anything. And I'm starting to think it doesn't take into account any of the weight of the saddlebags or backrest or any accessories that you might put on it, because the ride was terrible. What I did after riding several times, realizing that it still was bottoming out and felt terrible, I moved it up to just around 260, which is 14 millimeters between the top of the adjuster ring and the bottom of the lock ring. I'll show you how to do that real quick. This is the right side shock on my bike, and you get this spanner wrench when you buy the bike. It comes with it. And what you need to do is loosen this. I'm not sure where yours will be set from the factory or from the dealership, but loosen this locking ring right here and back it all the way to the top till it won't go up any further. Whether you have a caliper or a metric ruler, just measure from the top of the adjuster ring to the bottom of the lock ring. As you can see there, that's about 15 millimeters, roughly 15 millimeters, probably a little bit less, maybe 14 millimeters. So that's where I set my weight at to give me some extra preload. Then you have to tighten it down. If you just set that preload to where you think it is, and you can start with what it says to do for your weight. Like I said, I had to put more on, but definitely play around with it and experiment a little bit, and then make sure you tighten down this locking ring again so it doesn't go anywhere. I even added more preload on the side that is meant for adding extra gear and things. And like I said, I don't think they take into account the weight of the bags, the weight of the backrest. It's only the rider. So I boosted up on the other side a little bit, and then I went ahead and added some over here on this side for gear. We'll take a look at that real quick. On page 52 of the manual, you can see the other table that gives you the amounts needed for extra cargo, and you can see on the far left it shows pounds, kilograms, and then on the far right it's turns from minimum. So when you start, you have to have the adjusting knob all the way out, so you have to turn it all the way out, which is turn it towards the left or towards the bike. And I turned mine, let's see, I guess I added 60 pounds on this according to this chart. So I turned from minimum 14 turns right here. I added 60 pounds. I just want, I don't, there's no reason why I chose that. I just picked a, you know, kind of an in-between number there, kind of halfway up, a little bit more than halfway up. So I went 14 turns, and I'll show you where that's at. And you can see that this knob right here is what you want to turn. And there is an indentation somewhere. It's right there. You can see that dent in the tube there. There's one on each side, so at each half turn you'll feel that knob rest in a slot. It'll just click as you go around. It clicks every half turn. So I had to turn 28 clicks, basically was 14 turns out on that knob. So that gave me an extra 60 pounds of preload from what the book says. I don't know if that's exactly right. I mean, obviously I'm trusting Harley-Davidson on those numbers, but like I said, the first time when I did that, the 5 millimeters on the other side was not enough by a long shot. and it felt like the bike was bottoming out. I really felt disappointed because I thought the suspension was supposed to be better. Well, let me tell you, after doing these adjustments and adding more preload, the bike totally changed. And I think if you do this, you will be completely pleasantly surprised like I was. It rides like a totally different bike now. It's smooth. It's just, I can't even explain it hardly. It's so much different. And I know there's usually a lot of extra bounce if you put too much preload on something, which makes me wonder, is it really too much preload? Because it doesn't feel bouncy, you know, it doesn't feel springy or boingy or whatever you want to call it. It just feels really smooth and really nice. So take a look at your bike, and if you're having some bottoming out issues with your suspension on your new 24 Road Glide, Street Glide, take a look at those settings and maybe add some preload, see what you think. Play with those adjustments a little bit. It's your bike after all. Make it fit how it feels good for you. And maybe it'll really change your enjoyment of the bike when you get it set up correctly. Thanks again for coming by. Appreciate you hitting that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so you can keep up with us on all of our new releases. And take care, and I will see you on the next one.